Man, it's getting hot. All right, I'm about to change out the feeders for all the chickens and animals, so I thought I'd give like an introduction to the egg-laying hens that we have just been purchasing. We have a total of 24 right now. We purchased 5 because they're on a discount, 50 cents a piece. And then we went to another Tractor Supply. We got all of them from Tractor Supply so far. No other feed store has them, and then a lot of the online ordering, they're all out for like months, based on the breeds that we want. So we like the breeds that we got. We're just gonna keep doing the Tractor Supply thing. It's easy, and then we don't have to do the whole post office thing, and you know, we get to pick just alive ones. You know, no dead ones in a box. Shouldn't laugh at that, but you know. Anyways, this is our chicken area. This shed has already been here. We didn't really know what to use it for, not in the best location for us, but now it's going to be a chicken brooder / storage for chicken feed and supplies and everything else. And even our pet bunny is in there right now. So show you that in a second. But then over here is the chicken pasture area that we're working on. We just ripped it up. We've had a bunch of rains. We're going to kind of till it to remove a lot of the rocks. And then we'll be spreading the pasture seed and cover crops and stuff like that to kind of get that growing. It's mid-August, so not a whole lot's going to grow before the frost comes. And I don't know when our first frost date is. I think it's October. I don't know. We just moved here. We moved from the low desert, so we really have no idea what it's like here. And then over here is the mobile chicken coop that we bought. When we lived in Scottsdale, I built a really massive chicken mansion thing in my mom. We took it all down. It's a lot of the wood you see over here. I just don't really feel like building that again. And this was only 200 bucks. So we bought it. It needs some modifications. It needs some work, but it's a lot less work than building that big coop that we used to have. So anyways, let me give you a tour of the brooder, the chicks, and then the rest of the area so you can kind of see where we've started. All right, again, this shed was already here. We didn't purchase it. I don't know how much it costs, but it's here. And I think it's about a 10 by 10 or something like that. So here's our pet bunny, Louise. She goes in and out. She's not a free range because then she would just run away. But we take this like mobile dog enclosure thing and put her outside in the grass and stuff. And she's a bit hot in here. That's why we opened up the doors. But yeah, she's just sharing this space temporarily until we get something better. And then let me remove some of this. These ones can already jump out of here. It's like almost 3 feet tall. And so we have 5 cream leg bars, which will actually produce blue eggs, which I didn't know when we bought that, but these were the 50-cent chickens. And then there are 6 Easter eggers in there, which we have had before, and they'll either do blue or green eggs. You don't really know until they start laying them. Easter eggers are not my favorite, just based on my short experience. The last 2 that we had, they're the loudest, the most aggressive. They fought all the time. They made a bunch of racket. They're the hardest to catch. They're just crazy, and they're kind of mean. And so far, the 6 that we have, living up to our past experience. Not my favorite breed, but I think they are pretty chickens. At least the ones we had last time. They were beautiful looking chickens, and the eggs are a good talking point. So kind of our colored eggs over here, and then our standard brown eggs will be over here. We got Rhode Island Reds, which are the darker ones, and then the lighter ones are Buff Orpingtons. And so we bought 5 because they're on discount, and I really didn't want more than 5 of the same breed. And then we bought 6 Easter eggers because there was 6 left. And then we bought 13 of these guys combined because that's how many were left. And Rhode Island Reds are kind of my favorite. Out of all the 10 chickens we had, I think we had like 5 different breeds. Or we had 6 breeds. And then the Rhode Island Reds are actually my favorite. So haven't had Buff Orpingtons yet, but I always hear good things about them. Anyways, this is just 1/4 inch hardware cloth with some like 2x2s for construction. They're currently separated just because we've bought them at separate times. So I don't really want them to be fighting, especially since these ones are all crazy. They're like the most aggressive, kind of flighty, I guess. I don't know if they're going to be my favorite. Must be something with the blue eggs, but These ones much more calm. You can pick them up pretty easily. These ones fight the whole time. But yeah, and then there's just some plywood scraps. This is all scrap. So cost us nothing to build. Even the screws are just old screws that come out of my storage bucket. But yeah, and then there's no power to this. I know you see outlets and stuff, but there's actually no power. It's been removed by the previous owner because they kind of did it not to code. I mean, obviously this is not code. You can't have exposed stuff, but who cares? Heat lamp. And then I just stapled the safety label up here, kind of as a secondary thing. And then it's right here, so they can still kind of see each other, and hopefully they kind of sleep over here. Everyone gets used to each other, so when we pull that, they won't start fighting a lot. I think they'll still fight a little bit, but hopefully not a lot. But yeah, we just power everything through an extension cord, and it's really hot in here, so I'm gonna walk out and let it cool down with this door open. Yeah, then they built this like really weird thing out of like, it looks like they took 2x2s and cut them in half, ripped them in half, and then they took these dowels and made this weird foam structure. This is like foam sheets. So I'm gonna take that down and kind of rebuild it. I like the idea of it. The construction's kind of ridiculous, but we're using it as somewhat dry storage for some other stuff. A lot of that stuff was in the shed, so to make room, we kind of put it out here. And then back here is going to be our orchard. So the chickens will be fenced off from it, and they'll be allowed in when we want them in, but the rest of the time they'll be kept out. Again, solar panels, we're using it as some shade for some equipment we don't have room for in our tiny one-car garage. We got some pumpkins growing. Almost all of them have been killed by the aphids, but we actually got one little pumpkin. So we'll see. We just planted them because the boys wanted to plant something. We don't feed them or anything. If they grow, they grow. If they're not, it's not a big deal. This is our first year here at the property. We're not too worried. And so again, we just ripped this up. It's going to be tilled to bring a lot of these rocks up to the surface. We'll scrape the rocks off and then spread the pasture seed. And it's like a lot of clover, and there's other stuff in it. I don't know. I just bought it online, and we'll spread it here. It's meant for poultry and our climate, so hopefully it actually works. And then this is just weeds. This is what the rest of it would have looked like before we disturbed it. And you can see old mattresses. This is just a storage area for us right now before we make a run to the dump. And then a lot of this wood, other than like the firewood you see, is from the old chicken coop at our last place. And then this is the chicken coop that we bought out here, just like a couple miles down the road. We just happened to see it for sale, called them up. They only wanted $200 for it, and so we snatched it. The only thing I don't like is like you can't really walk in there, but you know, it'll work. It's got doors on either side, but they don't really fit anymore. The wood is warped. The roof isn't really sealed that well. You got little doors here. The tires need to be replaced. They don't really hold air that well. But you know, two over here. And then when this thing is leveled out, the bottom wire mesh actually comes down, and that's how the chickens get in and out. I don't really like that option, so I'm going to change it up, but that's what it is. And then over here are the goats and pet pig and livestock dogs, and over here will be our meat pigs once we clean this all up. But yeah, so that's kind of why we like the chickens here, close to the other animals. The greenhouse and vegetables and stuff will all be grown over there and down here, so like scraps can just be thrown to them, which is nice. And then we're kind of composting a bunch of stuff over here. We're just starting, so there's really nothing there. And then so it's just a very convenient location, and then our house is right there, so when we come to get eggs and stuff, it's, you know, not a far place to the grocery store. But yeah, you can see like this dead tree needs to come out, but we're basically going to go probably right behind the trees because we got a lot of hawks and I don't want them hiding up in the trees. And then we're just going to fence this all off down here, and then we're going to like string wires and other stuff throughout to kind of hopefully prevent the hawks from dipping in. and getting a easy meal off of us. But yeah, there's that. All right, so now I got to actually do my farm chores instead of just videoing about them, and I gotta clean out the waters and add some feed and stuff. And you know, I just wanted to show people kind of where we started, and that it doesn't really take a whole lot. I think the fencing is gonna be like the most expensive thing, and keeping the hawks out. So the protection of these animals is more expensive and harder to do than I think the purchase and feed and everything else of them. And then the breeds we chose were basically because of the breeds that were available. Because we bought this property late in the year, at least late in the year for farming and hatchery season, all the online hatcheries and everything were all sold out of all the breeds that we would want. And then it's kind of like you're just doing hatchery choices and straight runs, which we don't want roosters and stuff. So it's like we're gonna have to wait till next year, but Tractor Supply ended up having chickens, and I've just been kind of buying them out when I see them. I think we're gonna kind of maybe stop from here, but I would really like to focus on getting a wide variety versus just the top egg producers, because our farm's not gonna be built on egg laying hens. Our farm is built kind of on the idea of the farm and providing for this lifestyle that we want. We plan on making more of the money with the vegetables and eventually the goats and stuff like that. And then Airbnbs and other stuff that we're doing. So the farm is kind of like the lifestyle, the egg laying hens, more of the lifestyle, because you kind of need a lot of eggs to really be profitable. And then you really have to invest into licensing and inspections and all this other stuff. Versus I can do 750 dozen in Arizona as a nest run producer without being inspected and all this other stuff. But for whatever reason, I can't label them as fresh or local. That's kind of weird, right? So I have to label them as nest run. They can't be labeled as fresh eggs unless I get inspected, and they can't be labeled as local unless I meet certain requirements, which is kind of ridiculous, but it's the world we live in. But yeah, eggs are mostly going to be for us. And then the value added products that we do, we plan on making like cakes and breads and I don't know, other stuff. We don't really know. We're just starting, and we'll choose which path we kind of go as we go along. And then we'll sell the eggs to like our neighbors and family and friends. We don't have any family and friends nearby, but eventually, hopefully, we can convince some people to move to the middle of nowhere with us. But yeah, our neighbors do a lot of good stuff for us. They help us out a lot. So it's kind of an easy way to pay them back is with some fresh eggs. But yeah, so anyways, that's the introduction to the chickens, the chicken pasture, the brooder, the coop. We'll do more videos about them as they grow, as this kind of gets seeded, starts to grow. We'll show you our whole process. But the thing to remember is that we're new. I'm not a chicken farmer. I've had 10 chickens in our backyard before, you know, but I've never actually sold eggs. And yeah, I've never created a pasture. I've created nice green lawns, but never a chicken pasture. So we're learning. So if you have any useful tips, where do you like to buy your seed from? If you buy it online, leave it in a comment. Tell me what you like. We're in like a zone 7. I think we're at now. We just moved up here from Phoenix, which is like zone 9 / zone desert and heat, which we love to live in there, but we got tired of the heat and we wanted more land, so this is our option. And then one other thing, what is your favorite breed of chicken? I really don't like the Easter eggers based on our last ones. We ended up selling some and I got rid of them easily because I liked them the least. Thank you for the eggs, but I kind of said, I'm not going to get Easter eggers again, but they were available. So I think as we rotate our stock, they'll kind of be the first to go. And then I don't know if I'll get them again, but we'll see how these ones turn out. And I'd say right now, my favorite that we've had so far was we had a White Rock, which was like our best chicken. And she was kind of like the head hen. And then we had a Silver Laced Wyandotte. which to me is like the most beautiful chicken that we've had. But yeah, I'm looking into other chickens. I don't really like the weird looking ones, like with the little puffy thing. What are they called? I don't know. Or like the Brahmas with like the boot looking feet. I do kind of want to get some like Jersey Giants and stuff, because I think it's interesting that chickens get that big. But yeah, I don't know. I really just want to have cool looking chickens that lay eggs. I'm not really worried about how much money we make off of them. If they pay for themselves, great. If not, I mean, we have other things like the Airbnb and farm tours and stuff like that that I think are going to pay for it. So we're not too worried about making money as a farm. We're more trying to create this lifestyle that pays for itself, and attracts other people that we can share and maybe educate. And maybe we're not full-time chicken farmers, but we can inspire others to be full-time chicken farmers, which would be great. But anyways, lots of this. Gotta get to work. See you guys on the next video. But yeah, tell me, what's your favorite breed of chicken that we should look into? Leave it in the comments below, because I've only had like 7. So, all right, that's it. See you guys.